Hello, y'all. I'm back on this exercise bike again on this Sunday, and I am hoping that your Sunday is going so excellent thus far. So, this video is going to be about Hoovers. And remember, on this channel, I break down real life examples. Number one, I'm going to say this: stop thinking and assuming that all Hoovers are from narcissists. And the reason I'm saying that is, believe it or not, despite what we've heard or we're seeing lately, a lot of empathic people have very destructive relationships. And that's because empathic people are also capable of having narcissistic traits that are coming out here and there, right? So I'm going to start with the narcissistic people. These are people that are not high enough on the scale to be a full blown narcissist. If a psychologist or a psychiatrist or any therapist was to talk to them for long enough, they could not think that this person is a narcissist. They just would not meet enough of the qualifications to be a narcissist. However, they're narcissistic. So they're just, if not as much, of a toxic person as narcissists will be. Okay, so the Hoovers. And I'm just going to say this: the reason you were able to be Hoovered in the first place or to be entangled with these people is because, for one, you were unaware. Two, you had something that they wanted, or you had something that, let me say this again. I messed it all up. The narcissist or the narcissistic person had something that you also wanted. And sometimes that's sex. Okay. So if you want a spouse, you want sex, you want financial gain, you want a family, you want these things. And there's nothing wrong with wanting these things. This just means you're someone that has goals. However, you wanted it from a narcissist. You wanted it from a man or woman that was narcissistic, right? So if you can somehow remove your want and dependence on these narcissistic people or narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths, whatever they may be, it will reduce your entanglement with them. It will be less likely that you will become entangled and in their web and in their plots, their scams, and all of that. And another weakness you have is, if you're the type of person that has to have a lot of company, and when I say a lot of company, I'm talking about people that are outside your family, y'all. People that are outside of your religious organization. Okay? These ain't your church friends. This ain't your people, the people you know at the mosque. These ain't your blood relatives. These are also not people that you have adopted in your family or they have adopted you. Okay? If you were adopted, those people that adopted you are now your relatives. Okay? So, Hoovers. Okay, I'm going to give you an example because remember, I'm going to get Hoovered. But keep in mind, I don't consider all Hoovers from narcissists. Okay, you could be getting a Hoover from the most toxic, empathic, off balance, low self esteem, empathic person in the universe. So let's start with why I get Hoovered. Okay, I'm going to get Hoovered because I don't believe in changing my phone number. And I've explained this in other videos. You would have to go back to some of those videos. I did a short about it. I think I called the short, "You're Protecting the Narcissist." So go to that short and you'll see one of the reasons why. There's a couple of shorts I did about it. I just put the empathic people first in my life. And I'm not changing a number that I had for quite a while. Now, if I've only had that phone number like a week or two, that's different. But if I've had that phone number for quite a while, I memorized that phone number. I just ain't doing it. And what that's done for me is provided me discipline. You should have enough courage to stay away from these people due to the way they treat you without changing a phone number. Okay, if you only have to change a phone number or you have to change a phone number to get rid of these people, hey, go for it. If you're that weak, go for it. But I'd rather have the inner discipline, and I would rather be able to see that call come up and have the ability within myself not to answer that call than to have it done for me. Because that's what you're doing. If when you block somebody or change your phone number, I'm not going to say blocking because I will block. But if you have to change your entire phone number for one fool, that's a problem. Especially a phone number that many people have, and you just never know who may be contacting you. So anyway, I won't do it. So I will get hoovered at some point. I don't care if it's 5 or 10 years. Now, if a prior narcissist does not have my new number, I'm not going to give it to the narcissist. Okay, so that doesn't mean just because one had my phone number that I'm going to be willing to give it back out to them if they lose the number. But anyway, back on Hoovers, the movie Hoover. We're going to go over the movie Hoover. And no, I don't mean taking you out to the movies. Okay? And this video is for men and women because for the guys, women asking you to come over for a movie too. I'm talking about the at-home movie Hoover. So the at-home movie Hoover, I received one of those Hoovers, okay? And I'm going to tell you the qualification that you would have to meet to go over to a narcissist's house for a movie Hoover or a narcissistic man. And in this case, I'm just going to call this gentleman narcissistic. And the reason I'm going to call him that, he actually has empathy, okay? There's maybe like a drop of care that he may have for me. Not much, but maybe a drop of care. So that's not enough to work with when it comes to someone marrying you or really having your back or really, in the real sense of the word, being in your life. You need more than a drop of care. There's some level of attachment that he has had for me, and that's because I was a prior supply source for him. Okay, because remember, human beings are supply sources. So these would have been the qualifications that I would have had to meet to go over to this narcissistic man's house. For one, I would have to be desperate as hell. Two, I would have to be so naive that I don't recognize that the reason he want me there is for sex. Three, I would have to be internally lonely. Four, I would have to be inviting the narcissist in my house. And the reason I say that is when you're inviting narcissistic people in your house, it makes it more than likely that you're going to also go to their house. It's easy for me to not go to somebody else's house when I don't have them in my house. Number 5, I would have to be willing to submit to a motherfucker that's so boring that I might fall asleep on their fucking couch. 6, I would have had to been willing to look at his ass for too long. And that I don't want to do. 7, he's not no fucking prize to me. Okay? And men that are listening to this video, you should be looking at the female narcissistic woman the same fucking way. So all of these reasons that I'm naming apply for men looking at these female narcissists. You should stop giving a fuck that she got a big ass. Okay? I don't give a fuck how fine she is. I don't care. Look at her ass the same way and don't go for the movie Hoover. Okay. And when you're going for the movie Hoover, you go over there to watch the movie. 8, the narcissistic man or woman is going to pick the freaking movie anyway. This is not a compromise deal. They already got which movie set up because the last person that came over on the other weekend watched that same fucking movie and gave them some dick or pussy. Okay. Sorry for the profanity, but that's what the fuck happened. 9, you still are trying to reach a goal with the wrong person. And these would have been the reasons I would have went over there. So I'm not trying to reach any goal with the wrong people anymore. I already know me and this man not getting married. He's not interested in that. I'm not interested in marrying him anymore. I'm not trying to take care of nobody when they old. I'm not signing up for none of this bullshit. Anybody that I've already taken care of in my life, I've taken care of them. I'm not looking for no new people. So 10, I'm not selfish enough. So remember that last number 9 I just named, I'm not looking for people to take care of. That means I'm selfish enough. And because you feel some kind of guilt or some kind of remorse about being selfish or selfless or self-centered, whatever you want to call it, you end up entangled with these fucked up people. So the movie Hoover is also a way that the narcissist has worked in his past. See, a lot of these narcissists and narcissistic men or women, they're from certain generations, so they're old school. So back in the day, that's how they got their wives, right? You know, they came over to the family's house for a movie, went in the back room, got it on, made love or whatever you want to call it. Next thing you know, they married and got 20 damn kids. Okay, but what you got to realize is this is 2022. This is not back in the day. So some of y'all need to get out of back in the day. People are not doing that no more. They getting what they want from you sexually and they sending your ass home, male and female. But see, that's the reason we got so many damn homeless people outside, because nobody wants to marry. And a lot of people don't want to marry. I'm not going to say nobody, because some of y'all might be married watching this video. You might be sitting there with your spouse watching this video. Because despite what people think, married people watch these videos too, because it's entertainment also. So, yeah, that's basically it. The movie Hoover. So, the movie Hoover, what happened in my situation was the narcissist was suggesting that I come over and watch a movie with him. I avoid using the word no. I didn't say no. I just started talking about something else. Remember, no is a word that a lot of people say to people before they get killed. So try to avoid the word no. Sometimes just change the subject. You can say no in many different ways. You can say, I'm not able to right now. It doesn't fit my schedule. I will see if I can do that. I have an appointment. I have to work that day. I don't get off early enough. See how I said no without using the word no? Okay, so you just say the reason without using the word no. And this knowledge comes from many years of watching crime cases. I mean, I was able to observe a lot of murders. When they told the story of what happened, the murder victim said no to the person. So just try to avoid that word. It's unnecessary to begin a sentence with no. Begin sentences with yes is more welcoming, because you're not denying someone of something. Because remember, narcissistic people don't like being denied of something. And when you say no and they're denied of something, what do? They go into a rage and get violent, start cussing you out. Their eyes start turning colors. They start looking like some from a freak show. because they pissed off. Okay, so you want to avoid that. And yeah, the movie Hoover. So going back to narcissistic people and narcissists, they're stuck in time warps, right? So in this particular movie Hoover that happened, this particular phone number that I use, it used to be a phone number that the narcissistic man was using for several years when we were in a relationship. So it was his prior phone number that he originally had. It was put on my phone plan and he paid on time. He was a good payer, y'all. He wasn't somebody that was irresponsible. He may have been late maybe twice out of all those years of being on the phone plan. But at some point, of course, the relationship didn't work out. So, like narcissists do, they stop paying, abandon the plan, abandon you. They do their little discard or disengagement before they try to come back to you, y'all. They do that. So that is now my phone. That phone went to another family member. It was the narcissist first, or the narcissistic man. Another relative used that phone, and now I am using that phone full time. And the other relative is using something else on the computer, basically. Okay, so that's now my phone. So periodically, it might be once every 12 months, once every 6 months, a call will come through. So on the same particular day that this narcissistic man is asking me to do this movie or watch a movie at his house, a lady calls and she asks for him by this so-called sexy nickname that he uses, which is actually his last name. Okay, so keep this in mind. I'm not the only one calling this man this sexy nickname. The other woman calling him that too. Same way with females for the men. She got a sexy nickname. You ain't the only one calling her Pooh Bear. All the rest of them calling her Pooh Bear too, including her coworkers. So keep that in mind. Now, in my case, the narcissistic man, like I said, he does have empathy. So I'm going to just say he's narcissistic. He calls me by my middle name. Now, I don't have a bunch of people calling me by my middle name. He's the only man other than my father that called me or calls me by my middle name. Yeah, that's just what he calls me. He calls me by my middle name. I had another relative that would sometimes call me by my middle name. So my ex, that's narcissistic, and another relative that I love very much would call me by my middle name. So it's not a lot of people that call me by my middle name. Okay. I have a childhood nickname that more people will call me by than my middle name. Many people don't know my middle name. Okay. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm saying that to point out this, that when you're dealing with narcissistic men and women, or a full-blown narcissist man or woman, what you think is special with them, everybody else doing it too. So I'm just using a comparison of how it is between you and me and them. So like I said, this woman that called the phone asked for him by this pet name that he uses for women that is actually his last name. And the way he pulls this off is the first day he meets you, he addresses himself when he introduces himself to you with his first and last name. So for example, let's say his name was Billy James. And he says, yeah, baby, I'm Billy James. So next thing you know, you're so in love with the James part of the name. And he might even tell you, just call me James, baby. So next thing you know, you calling him James. That's the pet name. That's his sex symbol name, but that's also his last name. So that makes him feel powerful. But keep in mind, this same line he running off to everybody else. right? So this woman that called and called him by his last name slash sex symbol name is what I'm gonna call it. Keep in mind, I no longer call this narcissistic man that. So see, you got to kind of be ahead of the game. I figured out by looking back on the situation when I heard guys calling him that and his guy friends calling him by that pet last name, like he's somebody, I stopped calling him that. Oftentimes on comments on this channel, I call y'all dear heart. So that's what I call the narcissistic man. That's my way of showing care and compassion for everyone. You're all my dear hearts. So if you look at any of the comments, you can confirm that that's how I reply. I always give you a heart and you're my dear hearts because that is my way of showing gratefulness and love here. So the ex narcissistic man, he was my first dear heart. Okay. I started using that dear heart term when I watched the Malcolm X movie. And I love how in the movie, his wife said, dear heart. I think they were getting married or whatever. So I just love that part of the movie. So ever since I said, anybody can be a dear heart. I mean, that you could say that to your family. It's just such a sweet thing to say. It's like a better version of saying sweetheart. But in the dear heart case, I feel comfortable calling a male or a female that. You're my dear heart. So, and you could replace it with another word. You might want to say kind heart, dear soul, whatever way you want to word it. But you're all my dear hearts. So I'm just saying this. I already stopped calling him by that sex symbol slash last name thing. But this woman that called, and keep in mind, he doesn't use that phone number. He hasn't used that phone number in years. So this is some other narcissistic woman that's sitting up bored as hell trying to figure out who called. Or that narcissistic man could have been pissed off that I wouldn't come for the movie time and gave that woman his old number and said, call this number, or because this woman is calling me and calling me, and call her and let her know, ask for me and let her know that who you are or whatever. And because I never asked for the lady's name, she gave me her name without me asking. And with people like that, block them. Even if the narcissistic person has access, you don't have to deal with other people that they deal with. So if you used to share a phone and you don't want to change the phone number, when those calls come in, just block them. I won't give the narcissistic man the message of that female. And the reason I don't do that is because I'm a protector. So I know how the narcissistic man is. I know that this victim don't know she's going to be a victim or want to be a victim, and I don't want to be a part of it. If a woman don't call and say, this is his aunt, please give him my number, I'm not giving the number out. Or I'm not giving her, the narcissistic man, new number. I mean, that's his position to do that. If this is somebody he really wanted contact with, he should give this woman his new number. I'm not going to be a part of that entanglement because I don't want to be spiritually liable for being the one that causes damage to that woman. And this just goes to show you, I mean, you got narcissistic women hoovering these men. You got narcissistic men hoovering these women too. Because like I said, that number, he hasn't had that number for a long time. But I gave at least 10 reasons of why I was able to turn the Hoover down. I mean, and a lot of times what happens, y'all, is this. A lot of the people are narcissistic And there's maybe a placeholder that they should have in your life. However, the placeholder is not a spouse, best friend. These are not people that's supposed to be too involved with you. But because you bring them in your home and you go out to their homes, you will never know the true purpose that they are in your life. A lot of times they're just meant for somebody to have a phone conversation with, or they're just meant to be somebody to go out to eat with once every 6 months. But see, men and women try to make these people future spouses. These are not people that you're supposed to be having sexual relations with, y'all. So, you just got to look at it from a different perspective. And how I've learned this is by going no contact for a while. Anybody that you go no contact with for an extended period of time, and you figure out at some point they're narcissistic, they're not actually a full blown narcissist, you can see the true value and place that they're supposed to have in your life, right? And another thing that helps me is this: being more self centered. Your priority should be what's going on at your house. So, this particular day, when I got this movie Hoover at the house, this ain't going out to the movies. And the reason it's not a movie Hoover to go out to the movies, it would go back to one of my videos I did recently on the ways that narcissists cheat or something like that. So I break down at least 4 to 5 scenarios of how narcissists cheat for males and females. Okay. So those are the reasons why this narcissist, and I'm not going to go over how they do it. I broke it down in that video. Go back to that video. That's the reason he wants me at the house. I explain all that in the video. However, this particular narcissistic man, we will go out once every 6 months or something like that. This is actually my neighbor, y'all. This is also a neighbor. Okay, so keep that in mind. A lot of these people, you have other connections with. They're your neighbors, they're your co-workers and stuff like that. And when I say neighbor, he doesn't literally stay right down the street, but he's close enough. Okay, if I needed to catch a Uber there or go and get in a vehicle and drive there, I could get there within 10 minutes. This is a gentleman that lives in the same city that I do. So that's just one of the Hoovers. And I'm going to create a playlist about, I'm going to say it's a playlist on the Hoovering, because I'm going to give you different examples. One sister did a playlist on Hoovering, and she goes over a lot of Hoovers that she gets from her ex narcissist through the email. And I do believe she actually had a full-blown narcissist, but a lot of her Hoovers go through the email. The ex narcissist in my life did not have my email address. So we never communicated over an email at all. It was always over the phone and in person, and in our homes, and when we would go out and hang out in public places. So, and basically you got to stop getting over this dream of like we're in the 1920s and you're, looking at one of these old Little House on the Prairie flicks or one of these Good Times flicks, and you thinking that you getting ready to go watch this movie with this narcissistic man or woman, and it's going to be some happily ever after, and they're going to be packing up the stuff to get in the horse wagon with you, with the horse pulling both of y'all while he whipped the horse and get one of the horses to start up like it's an engine. That's not how life works, y'all. So one of the ways that I am able to resist Hoovers from empathic people, narcissistic people, and narcissists is this, y'all. I always got something else going on. Okay. Even if it's what other people may think is boring. I had a relative that got a little ill that called me and said that they were on their way to where I was because they left where they were at sick. Okay, so that was more important to me than going to watch a crappy movie with the narcissist. I have video ideas that I think of. I also had a relative at home. So we chose to get dressed and we actually went out shopping, okay, and to grab something to eat and to grab a few groceries. So, and that may sound boring to you. However, what I'm getting from the grocery store becomes way more important than where someone is inviting me to that's narcissistic that just plans on having a no end relationship or a going nowhere relationship with me to the day that we die. And we only get one life. And I still keep hope alive. I mean, I just don't need it. It's just boring. I mean, and at the end of the day, whether they be a narcissistic man or female, you should just be tired of them. You should be tired of watching them sleep. I mean, watching them eat the same crappy sandwich, watching them gain another 25 pounds, watching them look mean and unhappy because when you came to watch the movie, you didn't give them the sex that they wanted. I mean, you just should be tired of looking at this individual. However, if you create the proper type of relationships that you're supposed to have with everyone, it won't be that big of a problem. That narcissistic man is going to find somebody else that might go sit up and watch that boring ass movie with him. Same way for the female. Let somebody else do that bullshit while you go take care of the people that's in your face. Many of y'all, while you over at the narcissistic man or woman's house, your kids is running around getting in gang fights. And you wondering why one of them so deep in the game. Well, you over at the narcissistic man or woman's house. Go get your teenagers. Go find your nieces and nephews and hang out with them. Be available to answer the phone when your sick relatives is calling. Organize and get your garbage out of the house. Go through some of your clutter. Get some garbage bags and put that stuff in there. You just got something else to do. Wash your clothes. These are the things that I do, so I don't have time. If you don't have a YouTube channel, get you one. If you're a person that's willing to help and talk, or start creating you a playlist. Even if you don't have a YouTube channel, do videos of you and your family and your friends. Leave your legacy behind. Create playlists on your personal YouTube channel of you and your family and build those playlists. These are the playlists of all my daughter and sons and nieces and nephew videos when they were between the ages of 2 and 5. Okay, the ex-narcissistic man, he doesn't know I have this YouTube channel. Okay, because I started this channel when I had way been out of the serious relationship with him. And the ultimate way that you will avoid a lot of Hoovers, y'all, and not be getting deep in those Hoovers. And when I say avoid the Hoover, you'll get the Hoover. Like I said, I got invited to the movie sitting at his home. However, when I say avoiding the Hoover, you having the sense not to go. I mean, don't feel like you gotta go everywhere because you invited there. And you gotta look at this key too. Narcissistic people and narcissists and sociopaths and psychopaths, they have the inability to love your family, y'all. They have the inability to love your closest friends. Another reason not to go is they're always inviting you. But you got teenagers at home. Why not invite your family too? See, I'm more attracted with people that do this. Hey, would you and the family like to come watch a movie? But see, the reason why narcissistic people and narcissists don't do it that way is because they don't want the rest of your family around, because they just want to have that sex with you. That's it. Or whatever else they want from you. They may be coming over or inviting you over. They may be inviting you over because they want you to give them some money. And they don't want your closest friends and family members around to say, no, don't give him or her that money. So it's not always sex. Sometimes they want your money. Sometimes they want to use your car. And they don't want your friends and family in the car saying, no, don't let them use the car. We got to go to the mall. We got to go to such and such place. They don't want that. So they're just people that pretty much keep you in isolation. That's what narcissistic people love to do. And that's their abuse tactic. It's the isolation. So another suggestion or piece of advice is quit being around people where they always want you in isolation. It's always just you and them at the house. It's always just you and them at the restaurant. It's always just you and them at their job. That's all it is. I mean, it's basically a zone that does not represent life. So me, I do go out. I mean, I do go to people's homes and we watch a movie and we have celebrations periodically. I go here and there. But those are empathic people that invite the whole family. Okay? And when I say the whole family, I'm talking about the relatives that would be still living in my home or our home. Because when you're a family, it's everyone's home. So basically, this is just my suggestion, and this is just to help you with the home movie Hoover. Okay? And don't go, mind your business. Always look at it like this too. Most of the time, whatever that narcissistic man or woman is inviting you to go do at their house, you can do that at your own house. Okay? You can start, instead of going over there, start watching one of my videos. Go to another YouTuber and watch one of their videos. You don't need that. Okay, so these are also ways that I gave you earlier in this video to help you resist the movie Hoover. Okay, and if they're inviting you out to an actual movie in public, don't go either. Okay, for one, movies are dark. Go to places with narcissistic people that are well lit up and where it's not such a cozy, sitting too close to one another, romantic environment. Okay, so that's just another tip. So build healthy, great relationships and have something else to do, y'all. Okay, and don't feel like you have to be engaging with these situations. And hopefully better people come in your life. Okay, but the better people won't come if you're spending so much time with the bad people. I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, happy Sunday. And let me check one more thing. 39 minutes on this bike, y'all. 39 minutes. I'm so proud of myself. These legs are getting stronger. I feel more energized, and you do the same. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Love you, and thank you so much. Bye.